Hey, what's up, y'all? Welcome back to the St. Cloud. Thanks for stopping by my channel. Today I want to talk about two fragrances, a bit of a fragrance comparison, if you will. One of these fragrances I have in my collection for about the past 6 months now. I've had a fairly good amount of time with it. I spent a lot of time with it. And the other I just recently got about 2 weeks ago. So I want to talk about both of these and their similarities and their differences. And yeah, so let's jump right into it. So right here, I have a 50 milliliter decant of Creed's Aventus Cologne. This isn't the official bottle, of course. This is, like I said, a decant I bought from someone selling it. And if you were wondering, the batch on this one is 20D01. And right here, I have Emperor Cologne Intense from Parfums Vintage. I've talked about this house before. I kind of like what they have to offer, and as you can see, that's the name of it right there on the bottom. So what this one is, if you haven't figured it out by now, is an interpretation, a clone of the original right here. I wanted to do this video when I got this bottle, because this is the first bottle I got. I wanted to do it two separate videos, but I did want to wait until I got my hands on the original before I talked about its clone, its interpretation. So I just figured, why not just talk about both of them and compare these two fragrances to let you know what they are and what they aren't. So Creed Aventus Cologne was released in 2018, and I believe Emperor Cologne Intense was released the following year. I'll double check that, but classified as an aromatic fruity. The notes are the same in this one. So at the top, we have mandarin orange, ginger, and pink pepper. I do believe rose is listed at the top notes on the Creed website. But in the middle, we have vetiver, patchouli, and sandalwood. And then the base, we have musk, birch, tonka bean, and styrax. Okay, before I get into the actual review, I just want to go ahead and say that Aventus Cologne and, of course, its clone are really, really good scents. I like the scent profile. I like wearing this stuff. Just to kind of give a general analysis of this scent, I think it's very mass appealing. I think it's real easy to wear. Overall, I think it just has a nice scent profile. But when you first spray on either one, Creed Aventus or Emperor Cologne Intense, they start pretty much identical. They're both going to open up very fruity, kind of, if you smelled Aventus, the original, or I would even go as far as to say, as Pineapple Vintage Emperor EDP, they both open up pretty much the same. Even though pineapple isn't listed in any of the notes in these two, they kind of open with the same kind of fruity, bright, fresh accord. I would attribute that to like the mandarin orange, kind of gives it a little, that ginger gives it a little more body. But these two open up just about identical. I can't tell the difference between the two. Even though there's some slight similarities, for the most part, they open up 100% the same. Fruity, bright, fresh, very appealing. Always compare the openings of Aventus, and I will go as far as to say these two smells like fruity cereal, so like a Fruity Pebbles or a Fruit Loops or something like that. It has that very fruity, bright, kind of sweet opening. And that pretty much stays the same for both of these for, I would say, about the first 30 minutes to an hour. I would say, since Creed is the more expensive and probably the more refined, more mature scent, that opening is going to last a little longer than this one. But like I said, they're both going to open up the same and last just about the same amount of time. But I'll give the edge to Aventus Cologne on holding those opening, those top notes a little bit longer than Emperor Cologne Intense. But as it starts to dry down, this is where, at least on my skin, these two kind of go their own way. It's not necessarily a bad thing in my opinion, but they don't, Emperor Cologne Intense, the cologne, doesn't hold on to the same properties as Aventus Cologne in my opinion. If you were to spray these on your clothes or on some fabric, then I would say yes, these pretty much stay the same throughout the scent. From the top through the mids and the dry down, it's pretty much the same on the fabric. But on skin, which is most likely where you're probably going to wear this scent anyway, these two turn into two different scents. Aventus Cologne dries down a little more evenly, a little more naturally, a little more complex. You're going to get a sense of the rest of the notes on the dry down. So like I said, opens up fruity fresh, but when it dries down, it still hangs on to that fruitiness just around the edges, just kind of barely there, but it starts to dry down into like a sweet, woody, almost green. I guess that's coming from the vetiver type of scent. It's a little more full-bodied. It's a little more airy. It seems like it pushes out and projects a little bit more than Emperor Cologne Intense, which on the dry down, you get, like I said, that fruitiness at the top, but on my skin, this one dries down a lot drier and a lot woodier. Doesn't necessarily project more, but it definitely doesn't have that same depth, that same complexity as Aventus Cologne. Like I said, I get a fuller, more full body, kind of airy, musky, kind of sweet, woody, kind of green vibe going. Whereas in Emperor Cologne Intense, I just get more of it, just like a dry wood, sandalwood, musk, and vetiver. I kind of get that pretty much after the first hour or two, and for the remainder of the scent, that's what I get with Emperor Cologne Intense. Not necessarily a bad thing, but it is a little disappointing. I know Emperor Cologne, Parfums Ventures, when they do intense versions of their interpretations of scents, they usually amp up certain notes. I'm not sure if they did it this time. They usually have it on the website, but I didn't see any information about it. But I think this is just a woodier dry down than Aventus Cologne, which kind of sucks in my opinion, but it is what it is. I still think these are two really good scents, but like I said, you're probably going to hang on to more of that fullness if you spray it on your clothes, as opposed to spraying on your skin. At least on my skin, these two go in two different directions. It may be different on your skin. Everybody's skin chemistry is a little bit different, but on my skin, this one remains the more fuller, more complex, more fleshed out fragrance than Emperor Cologne Intense. Like I said, musk, tonka bean, patchouli, a little bit of vetiver mixed in, as opposed to the drier, woodier, not as loud projecting, fuller scent when comparing the two. As far as occasions go, I think these are two really good, if not the best year-round scents that I own in my collection. I would definitely recommend either one for year-round use. Probably more suited for the warmer weather, so spring and summertime. But I would definitely, if you're like in a controlled environment, air-conditioned environment, you can pull these off in the colder months too. Occasions, like I said, any occasion year-round, casual, work, date, formal, you can probably pull this one off. Just an all-around good scent. This is a real good, mass appealing smelling scent. There's nothing offensive about this one. I've gotten compliments wearing both of these, but mainly I got the compliments within the first hour or two of me wearing it because of those fresh, fruity, bright opening notes. Not too much after I've worn it throughout the day. At least I can't smell it too much of myself unless I put it really close. If I'm smelling my hand or something like that. It becomes pretty much a skin scent, even though I think Aventus Cologne projects better than this one, to my opinion. I haven't really gotten any much feedback from, like I said, after the first hour or two of dry downs. But price on these, this is where this one gets a little tricky. Retail Aventus Cologne for a 50 ml bottle, which is pretty much this size right here. It's going to run you about $325 compared to $95 from Emperor Cologne Intense. The 100 milliliter bottle of Aventus Cologne is going to run you about $425 compared to the $159 100 ml bottle of Emperor Cologne Intense. So keep that in mind. But if you want your money's worth, I guess it's up to you. I didn't pay the $325 price tag for this 50 ml bottle. I bought it from someone selling from their collection. They gave me a really good price on this one, nowhere near the retail price. And I paid retail for this one, which is, like I said, I think I said 95 bucks if I'm not mistaken. But if you're on a budget and you want to be somewhere in the realm of the original, I would suggest this one. Or I've seen Aventus Cologne being kind of compared to Allure Homme Sport. I don't have any experience with that one, but I've seen that in the fragrance forums. One day I'll try to get my nose on it and compare. But as far as a clone and interpretation of Aventus Cologne, Emperor Cologne Intense does a really good job, in my opinion, for the price. But if you want the original and you want the fuller, more complex, more full body scent, you're going to get that nice fruity opening. It's still going to last kind of throughout the fragrance, but just faintly. But you're going to get that sweet, woody green Drydown and Aventus Cologne, and you're just going to get a more woodier, at least, like I said, in my opinion, this is all me. It may be different on your skin, but on my skin, this one is a lot drier, a lot woodier, not as fresh, not as sweet. I don't get any tonka bean, I don't get any styrax, I don't get any patchouli, I don't get that kind of floral fruitiness at the base as I get on Aventus Cologne. But please sample either one. I'm not sure if you can grab samples on this on the Aventus website. You may have to go to a private seller, but you can definitely order small samples of Emperor Cologne Intense from the Parfums Aventus website for like $6 for like a 2.5 milliliter bottle. And I think they offer that with every single fragrance that they sell on their website. So please take advantage of that. If you want to test this one out, I would highly encourage to see if you like it before purchasing. But if you can afford the price tag for this one, I would definitely refer this one over Emperor Cologne Intense. But I still think, like I said, both of these are really good scents and you can't go wrong with either one. I would just prefer the original over the clone, but I'm gonna wear both of them. I'm probably wear these out, and I may end up investing in a full bottle, maybe not retail bottle, but a full bottle of Aventus Cologne. And I'll see how this one goes. It may mature a little bit over time, and I'll keep wearing it to see if anything changes. Maybe I'll come back and update you guys. But yeah, that's all I got to say about these two, Aventus Cologne and Emperor Cologne Intense. I appreciate you guys for stopping by my channel today. I really appreciate it. Like always, I really appreciate it if you like this video, subscribe to my channel, and I'll leave a comment if you have experience with any one of these two. Just let me know what you think. Thanks for stopping by my channel, and I will catch you guys on the next one.